Hey there, Lisa here. Welcome to my channel. I hope you'll join me in my love of crafting and DIYs and hit that subscribe button. Today's video is all about quick change decor for the seasons and holidays. It is part of a challenge that I will tell you more about later, but let's jump right in and get to these 4 projects. The first project on the list is a season changeable farm truck. For this, you will need 2 wooden farm trucks I got these at the Dollar Tree, a mini crate, craft and popsicle sticks, calendar thumbnails or printables, 2-inch wooden squares, Mod Podge, sanding file, self-adhesive magnet sheets or just regular magnet sheets and glue, paint and paint marker, paint brushes, and then you will need some scissors. I have been dreaming about making this seasonal truck for a really long time, and I finally got to get it done. So the first thing I did was I took the raised portions off of one side because I wanted so that when you put the 2 trucks together, the raised portions were on the outside instead of on the inside of one because they're the same. It did not work out well, mainly because I was impatient. I did not use a heat gun, and so I ended up having to piece it all back together. So if you're going to do this, use a heat gun, take your time to get these pieces off. So then I had to use some nail filler and fill them in, and then I had to give them a little bit of a sanding. And that was after super gluing the rail back together. So I created a whole lot of extra work for myself by not being patient. Learned from my mistake. Then I took some brown paint and painted the one that I had pieced together. And then the other one, I just used a baby wipe and applied it there. And then I dry brushed with a little bit of white and a little bit of darker browns just to give it sort of a weathered wood look. And then I did glue my pieces back together or back on the truck on the opposite side. I hope that makes sense. And then I did paint both of them black. I didn't get video of that for some reason. And then with the crate, I did it the same way that I did the truck rails on both sides. Same, just dry brushing, try to give it a weathered look. And then for the middle, I took these craft sticks and I actually had glued them together with wood glue. So they're glued there, but they wouldn't stay real well. So I took some Gorilla Tape and taped them. And that way I was able to bend them. And then I measured to see how long I needed them and then just cut them off with scissors so that they were straight on the edges. And then I made these little pieces for them just so that there was more area for them to glue to the truck. And so then I super glued those to the side, and then I super glued that to the truck. So here I am doing the hood, and you did have to hold these for quite a while. And then I do the top of the truck here, and I'm just trying to get them at the same slant. So I'm trying to make sure that they fit. And then for the front, I use just regular popsicle sticks, and I also cut these off the same way, but I wanted them to be spaced, sort of like the grill on the front of a truck. And then once I had them all glued to one side, I went to glue on the other side. So I had 2 problems here. I didn't wait for my glue to dry enough. And also in the back where I had taken off that rail, I didn't sand it. And so it was kind of lumpy. So I ended up having to get the hot glue gun out and use the hot glue gun mostly to seal the fact that it wasn't flat. So this ended up being kind of a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. It kept falling apart, but I finally got it together. And then I had one spot that I just needed another couple popsicle sticks, so I cut those to fit in so that it was closed in, added a little bit of nail filler, and then painted it black to match the rest of the truck. And then for the signs, I took calendar templates and cut those out. There were a couple that I made up in Canva, the carrot patch and the flower market and the egg one. And so I took these 2.5-inch squares, I Mod Podged my templates on them, and then sanded down the edges, and then I covered them with Mod Podge once I had them all sanded. So I made quite a few. You can make whatever you want, whatever you think seasonally that you would use. So once I had that done, then I took the magnetic strips. I just bought the sheets and cut them, and I put a square on the back of each of the signs, as well as you see there, I put a magnet on the side of the truck. You could do on both sides, but I ended up just doing one because that one side doesn't look all that great. And actually where I decided to put it, I don't need it. And then I took this silver paint marker and went around just to give it some definition. I tried to do something funky with the tires, and honestly, I'm not super in love with it. I may go back and paint over that. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I finally got my farm truck done, and it was a lot of work, but you know, now that everything's done, it's a matter of changing the magnet and changing what goes in the back of it. So it will be an easy change piece. It's just a lot of work up front, making the truck and then making all the signs. So easy change: crisp apples, pumpkins, trees, eggs, carrot patch, flowers, lemons. There are just so many things you can do with this truck. I absolutely love it. You will have to let me know in the comments which of the stylings you like best, and do you think that this is something that you would ever tackle? This project, Season Changeable Beaded Garland, you will need twine, wooden beads, ribbon, jump rings, gourd pins, and then the items that you need for the ornament pieces. So I use wooden shapes. On some I used Mod Podge and burlap. You'll need paints, scissors, whatever is needed to create your seasonal piece. And this will make more sense when you see it. I have previously done a short video showing this changeable beaded garland that I had done, but I thought that I would add to it because I've added so many different seasons. Basically, first thing I did was I took some twine and I added beads, and then every so often I added a jump ring where I wanted to hang the ornaments, and then I added a little bit of burlap between the jump rings just for a little bit of decorative touch. And each season or holiday is just a little bit different. So for Valentine's Day, I did some red hearts, some white hearts. I strung all of them a little bit differently too. This one I just did a loop through on the gourd pin, and then I added the bead, and then I just did a knot, and I just did several knots in the front and kept the knots in the front on this one. There's also so many different ways to hang these, and like I said, I did each one just a little bit differently. Some have beads, some don't, some are tied one way, some are tied a different way. So did my knots, cut off the ends, and then I went around and just added some antique wax around the edges, and then I sort of smeared it with a paper towel, and then I added just a little bit across the front of the hearts. And all of them turned out a little bit differently as well. So for St. Patrick's Day, I could not find the wood ornaments, so I took some burlap and I stiffened it with a little bit of Mod Podge and water, and then I cut out a shamrock, and then I took some watered down green paint and a sponge, and I sponged green on some of them, and then the other ones I just did a little bit of green around the edges. I was initially going to do just the regular natural color, but against my white fireplace it needed something else, so I did do the green around the edges. And then for these ones, I put the gourd pin right in the shamrock, and then same loop knot thing, tied a piece of twine to it, and then I added a bead. And on these ones I did some dark beads, and then I had some green and gold, and so I thought it would be kind of fun just to add some colorful beads. I tied on the gourd pin, and then I cut off the knot. And that's the way that I hung these ones. And so then Easter, I did these ones just a little bit different. I didn't do a solid paint color. I sort of dry brushed several different grays on the bunnies and a little bit of white. And then I did the same basic process for the carrots, just a couple of different orange tones for the bottom. And then I did a couple of different green tones for the top. And then on the eggs, I just used this buff color. And then I added some polka dots, and somewhere I lost a video. Basically, I added yellow and then some greens and turquoises. And then I sanded them really, really good. As you can see there, I sanded a lot of it off because I didn't want them to be real prominent, just a little bit there. And then for these ones, I went ahead and I added the knot to the gourd pin, and then I strung it through the back and did about 3 knots on the back. And then I'm just going to show you here. Here is some that I had done for Halloween. Here are some that I had done for fall. You know, and you could do these double-sided. I'm thinking next year maybe I'll just take the back sides and do something different. And then I did these ones for Christmas. I did these for like my winter wonderland. This is how the Valentine's Day ones ended up looking. And then here I'm showing you just how easy it is. So you just unclip the gourd pin off the jump ring and then add them back on. And then here are the clovers. And then to store them, I just keep them on a binder ring. And then they just store with that holiday. And then here are the Easter I am hanging up. And I have previously showed most of them. However, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, and Easter, I have not yet. So you're seeing those for the very first time. I would love to know which one is your favorite. Is this something that you would ever do? Let me know down in the comments. This video is part of the Quick Change Challenge, which means that there is a playlist linked in my description box full of DIYs and crafts that are reversible, season changeable, holiday changeable, so be sure to check that out. Special mention goes to our lovely hosts. We have Teresa at Teresa B DIY, and then we have Sarah over at Sunflowers and DIYing. Their channels will also be linked in the description box. This project is a season changeable candle set. You will need some clear candle holders, sand, fake florals, and battery operated candles. This is so easy, I almost feel silly including it, but it's so simple for the person who's not a big crafter but likes to have cute stuff. Easy peasy. So I featured this in one of my Valentine's videos, but basically I took these candle holders I bought from Dollar Tree, I added a little bit of sand, and then I took the tops off some roses and put the candle in them. And I thought that they were so pretty. So then at St. Patrick's Day, I added some clovers. And so I figured, I mean, you could really do this. You could do poinsettias at Christmas. You could do something at fall. Anyways, so I tried it with some tulips and some daffodils, depending on the flowers. Some of them you have to dismantle a little bit more than others. But I mean, really so simple. It adds a splash of color. You could change up the colors of sand. It really is open to so much. You could do so many different things. I just did 3 to show you, just some spring, Valentine's Day, and then St. Patrick's Day. You could put them on tiered trays. I think it looks really cute on my tiered tray with these little white bunnies. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think. Is this something you would do? This project is a quick changeable mason jar. You will need a mason jar, chalk paint, ribbon, Velcro, and then whatever you want to use for your changeable pieces. Again, that will make more sense when you see it. I used wooden shapes, Mod Podge, paint markers, hot glue, scissors, and a sanding file. This turned out being a completely different project than I initially planned. Basically, I took a mason jar and I painted it with chalk paint. I did do several coats, and then I also took and dry brushed it with a little bit of antique wax once it had all dried. So this was my initial plan. I was going to do a different ribbon to Velcro around the jar for each holiday. But I wasn't liking the way some of these ribbons puckered. And so I changed it up mid-project. But this is something that you could do. So I decided to include it in here in case this is something you would like. So what I did was I took a piece of burlap. Everybody loves burlap ribbon, and I glued it to my jar. And so I just folded it, and then I hot glued it, and then I wrapped it around the jar, and then folded and hot glued that one as well. So this ribbon will just stay on the jar, and then I will use Velcro to make interchangeable little decor bows, I guess we could call them. I'm not sure. I got a little funky with this stuff. So I really just tried to use cheap materials to keep this cost friendly. So here I am gluing the Velcro, so the rough side onto the jar. Okay, I am not going to include a video of everything I did because this video would be 482 years long. But like I said, I wanted to keep things cheap. So for the love blooms here, I took a wooden square and I painted the edges black, and then I Mod Podged the love blooms here on there. Then I added some of the checked ribbon, and I fringed it so that I had some fringe, but I didn't like the black and white fringe. So then I ended up painting the white portion black. For Valentine's Day, I just took a piece of ribbon, I fringed the edges, and then I added Mod Podge. And then I cut out a couple of velvet hearts and put on it. I had a clover gone wrong that turned into a purple flower, and I just took different pieces of ribbon to make a stem and a, like I said, I just got kind of funky here. I just wanted to show you so many different options of what you can do with just ribbon and glue, Mod Podge, and just a smidge of paint. The clover one I had the worst time with, but I ended up painting a clover on a piece of green burlap ribbon, and then I Mod Podged it to one of those wooden squares. And I did do one with the checked ribbon. I just cut out the ribbon, and then I doodled a flower. These are the kind of flowers that I would like doodle in high school with some paint marker. And then I cut out a polka dot from one of those other ribbons and glued it in the center. Cut out the flower and then glued it to a piece of ribbon. And I did a couple bow type ones. So one, I just cut little strips of the polka dot bows and then just cut out a polka dot and put in the middle. It sort of looked like a funky ribbon flower to me. And then I did do a wooden flower that I had, and I painted it black, add some gold touches. I couldn't decide black and gold or just black or just gold. So I had it all different ways. So you might see it different ways in the video. And then I just put it on some pieces of the polka dot ribbon. Oh, and the carrot one, I just layered a bunch of cut strips of burlap. And then on the backs of each of them, I used the soft Velcro dots. And they are sticky dots, but I did use hot glue because I wasn't sure how they would hold. And so here you go. So you can do so many different things with this jar. You can use it to hold pens. You can use it to hold kitchen utensils, bathroom stuff. You can put flowers in it. You could put a candle down inside. You could even put candy in it. You could tie twine around the top, maybe a different baker's twine each season. You could do anything on the front. I took one of these round wooden shapes and I just used some antique wax to make like a little flat top for it, so that then I could just add a little figurine on top so it serves sort of like a riser. So many different things that you can do with this little jar. So anywhere you just maybe need some seasonal or something fun. I love the look of chalked jars, and I love the look of them for the seasons. However, I don't want a whole box of jars. All right, let me know what you think. Do you like any of these? They're all really a little funky. Generally, I save the big reveal for last, but I kind of showed you each of the projects at the end of making them. So quick look, I just wanted to show you how I sort of styled it for Easter. I was really trying to bring the 4 pieces together, and just wanted to give a quick thank you for being here, for watching the video. And I hope that you enjoyed it. I would love to hear what you think in the comments. And if you did enjoy it, please subscribe and share with your friends. And I will leave you here today with a quick reminder of all the fun ways you can style these 4 projects. Thanks so much. Again, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.